We live in a complex multidimensional universe, and we are multidimensional beings. Our experience of being human is only one facet of our vast multidimensional reality. While our biological life is defined by time, place, and circumstance, there are other aspects of ourselves that transcend our third dimensional reality. And the only reason we do not experience this vastness of our nature is because we have been conditioned not to. Sacred geometric patterns exist all around us, creating the fundamental structure and templates of life in the universe. The patterns can be broken down into a language of mathematics that rules the entirety of our visible and invisible world. The geometric archetypes reveal the nature of each form and its vibrational resonance, symbolizing the inseparable relationship between everything and everyone, which ultimately makes up our whole matrix and the universe at large, embodying oneness. Many teachings has described sacred geometry as the blueprint of creation and the genesis, the origin of all form. Sacred geometry is considered an ancient science that explores and explains the energy patterns that create and unify all things and reveals the precise way that the energy of creation organizes itself. It is said that every natural pattern of growth or movement comes back to one or more geometric shapes. The molecules of our DNA, the cornea of our eye, snowflakes, flower petals, crystals or shell, the stars, the galaxy we spiral within, the air we breathe, and all life forms are created out of geometric codes. The Platonic solids are thought of as the sacred geometry building blocks of the universe that were taught in the Greek mystery schools 2500 years ago. The Platonic solids are four-sided tetrahedron, eight-sided octahedron, six-sided hexahedron, 20-sided icosahedron, and 12-sided dodecahedron. They also represent the five basic elements: fire, air, earth, water, and ether. These shapes appear throughout nature, from crystals to human DNA. These Platonic solids are considered the foundation of everything in the physical world, revealing the unity in all things. However, if we break these Platonic solids down to their simplest forms, they form the triangle, square, circle, spiral, and straight line. Even though the Platonic solids are the building blocks of the universe, the triangle is a symbol that underlines all of them. Triangle symbolizes balance, harmony, completion. Rising upwards, it elevates us to higher consciousness. Circle symbolizes wholeness, oneness, never-ending cycles of life, the internal constant, cycles of change, unity, perfection, inclusiveness, and boundaries. It is said that the first thought of God is represented by a circle, which exists by itself, and then it created a replica of itself. Square, on the other hand, symbolizes foundation, solidity, stability, dependability, safety. The base of the pyramid has a square structure which creates the balance and stability. It is said that all shapes come back to the mathematical formula of the Fibonacci and golden mean ratio, as above, so below, connecting heaven and earth. The spiral spirals up to connect the physical self to the higher self and all levels of our being into the core of the earth. Galaxies are in spiral of energy. Energy moves in spirals. The spiral is also the Kundalini, which is symbolic of raising one's consciousness on the path of the evolution of the soul. The spiral is connected to the flow of energy through the chakras as they spin in the circle. The spiral is the spiral shape at the duplex helix in the DNA of each cell. Geometry is a fascinating study of angles that create shapes. Sacred geometry can be understood as mathematical formula, music, or relationship. An angle creates a relationship, and the overall shape is dependent upon angles, both seen and unseen. The angles determine the strength of the shape. This is the basis of the golden mean ratio, which explains the nature creates the strongest form. The Fibonacci spiral is more than a beautiful shape or basic math. It is a key to the formation of life, including our physical body. It holds the secrets to the relationships that create the shapes of life, and it demonstrates that life builds upon itself. The intersection of the two lines is where heaven and earth meet, and the result of their union is mankind, symbolized by the cross. The pyramid contains the spiral, the golden mean ratio, the triangle and square. The pyramid contains the number of divinity 3, the three sides of each triangle, plus the number of mankind 4, four sides of the square. It represents the relationships between source and humanity. The Pyramid of Giza in Egypt was built to create the energy that facilitated connection with the spiritual realms. The top or apex of the pyramid represents the highest point of spiritual attainment. The body of the structure is the journey or ascent to enlightenment, spiraling upwards. The pyramids were used for initiations and in transporting to other realms. They were used by the initiates to go through a kind of death and become transformed or reborn. The Star of David or Merkabah in its 2D form represents two energies. Upward triangle is a masculine energy, and the downward triangle is a feminine energy. These two energies are merging in perfect harmony. All sacred symbols make up the Merkabah. The Merkabah with interlocking triangles represents two interlocking pyramids. The flower of life is a fundamental pattern of the universe. Even the molecular and atomic grids are laid out in this pattern. Therefore, it is the platform that unfolds destiny. It is a blueprint. Without it, there will be no manifestation as we experience it. The flower of life is a physical representation of the connection with all living things in the universe. The figure 8 geometric pattern has an unusual effect when it is engaged through movement. It theoretically creates a neurological response. It stimulates the corpus callosum, a thick band of nerve fibers that connect the right and left hemispheres. When we are stressed, crossing the midline can improve brain function and performance. Astrology is the study of how the angles of the planets affect reality. The location of the planet to us and also to other planets create an overall shape of energy. For instance, when planets are at a 90-degree angle to each other, this square of planets represents a more challenging aspect of energy. Nature does not often create 90-degree angles, as it is not the strongest angle available. It is easily collapsed. That is good news in relation to the challenging of our life, as the astrological squaring angle of a position is easily collapsed. Straight lines represent masculine energy, which is direct, active, and electric. Curved lines represent feminine energy, which is indirect, receptive, passive, and magnetic. Just like the merging of the masculine and feminine that is required to create new human life, these opposite energies are two sides of one coin. Upon observing a sphere, only the curved feminine lines are visible. However, within that sphere is an incredibly strong vacuum known as the vector equilibrium, which is composed of the strongest angles, masculine lines, that nature creates. The vector equilibrium, which is the glue that shapes a sphere, is represented by the flower of life, as it creates that shape in two dimensions. The frequency of the light language creates the geometries that are needed spatially in the person light body. Like a solar flare, it is a powerful burst that bypasses all other encodements or transductions because it immediately hits the energy field without having to be broken down into other formats like an understanding or an emotion. It immediately interacts with the light body. The language of light is just as deeply layered with the sacred information of life as geometry. Light language opens the communication of profound love, working through the resistance and healing the deepest of wounds with relative ease. Through the magnetic power of love, light language creates a new shape within our structure. It expands our natal constructs to access deepest layers of information than what is obvious or previously known. Geometry is a physical representation of the power of magnetics, that lines and angles are the masculine nature of life bound through the feminine nature of life, and vice versa. This interplay creates form. Without the invisible magnetic force, the form is unable to bond. Our choice is a powerful magnetic bond within us. Word is a direction of energy, a line, a waiting form. The ancients considered that the experience of sacred geometry was essential to the education of the soul. They knew that these patterns and codes were symbolic of our own inner realm and were significant to higher consciousness and self-awareness. Sacred geometry amplifies our connection to spirit and creates harmony within ourselves and between ourselves and the outside world. It is often called sacred architecture because it underlines everything and is woven into the fabric of all creation. In addition to our physical realm, we have a light body and Merkaba, which is a great work of light and sacred geometry that brings together our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual being. This body radiates light energy and links our multidimensional selves with the infinite universe. Sacred geometry contains high frequency of energy and light that can activate, heal, awaken, and transform. The symbols are like codes that assist us in our journey of life, but also can be used more consciously to bring about deep soul awakening and connection to our true divine essence. It can be used to open up pathways and doorways to the infinite realms, as well as the connection to the oneness of all life in nature and the whole world around us. Sacred geometry brings about certain aspects of healing, harmonizing, and rebalancing on all levels. It connects the inner and outer, uniting all. I invite you to visit my website Knowledge in Abundance to learn more about the wealth of spirituality and mystery of life. Much love, happiness, and blessings to you. I appreciate you. Thank you.